Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody, it's Cindy here, and thank you for joining me with the Life Makeovers podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, and so I work with women in midlife and sometimes men too to learn how to really love themselves and identify what they want their lives to look like, and then help them create that through coaching and counseling and so forth. And midlife presents so many different kinds of unique experiences and challenges. And one of them that I have not spoken about a lot of is caregiving and what's called caregiver stress. And so today I really wanted to give a big nod to all you caregivers out there because I know you go through so much, and I've listened to your stories, and I've seen your stress firsthand. I've watched your struggle and despair, and yet also the reward of caring for someone you love so much, and the horrible grief that you feel when they're no longer alive with you here on earth. And so it's just such an emotional journey and so forth. And so I want to give it some attention today. So I've had this come up a lot in my work with people in midlife, because of course, many of you have parents who are aging, really getting elderly now, and some of them are no longer able to be independent and self-sufficient. And or you may be caregiving for, I know some of you who caregive for siblings, spouses, people in our own generation as well. And so when I say caregiving in midlife, I'm really talking about situations, I'm talking about today, situations where you are one of the primary players of caring for the physical or emotional needs of someone that you love in your life. And they may live with you, they may not live with you, but you may be the primary contact person nonetheless for a loved one. So I have story after story after story of this coming up, like I said, in the last many months with clients and colleagues and friends and family members. And it just is really striking me a lot recently. I went up and visited my mother, who is 80 years old. I live 200 miles from her. And one of my siblings lives about an hour from her, so much closer. And my other sibling lives in Colorado, many hundreds of miles from her. So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm literally the middle child, and I'm kind of the one that's the middle distance from her. But anyway, our mom lives in her own house, and she primarily takes care of most of her needs. But her health is, she's deteriorating. We can see the aging going on, and so can she. I mean, she tells us all the time about, what she's struggling with. She has some heart issues. She has to wear braces on her knees because the arthritis is so bad. It's kind of getting difficult for her to walk or get up and down out of a chair very easily. She has her hands are so arthritic that they're kind of, the fingers are bent, and it's hard for her to do those little motor tasks, with her fingers. Hard to open jars. She can't clasp a necklace anymore, things like that. And she's in pain every day and doesn't sleep great, and on and on and on the list goes. And so, my brother does quite a bit for her. He lives an hour from her, and he helps her with some of the harder things. And I find myself wanting to do more for her when I'm in her presence, but she also, wants to keep doing the things that she can do. And I want to empower her and be supportive of that as well. But yet some things are so much easier for me to do than they are for her, just because, I'm 23 years younger than her and physically stronger at this point and not in pain and all these things. And so, thus represents, I think, a struggle that lots of older parents and we middle aged kids find ourselves in, that strange space of, and I'm not calling myself a caregiver of my mother, that's not fair because I'm not, but we're in that strange space of where, a parent wants to remain more independent and do things for themselves, but a child wants to step in and do more, but they don't want that. They want to keep doing for themselves, which I can appreciate personally, of course. And again, want to empower my mother. I wish she was even stronger than she is, and didn't have to struggle so hard for everything that she needs to do in a day. But at the same time, I get that she doesn't want to, you know um, ask, or she doesn't want to feel like, we all need to be helping her every minute that we're with her. So it's just a weird space, right? And so, and that's just not on a daily life level at all for our family. But some of you are going through it all the time. You have a parent living with you, and you are 24/7 on task. You're feeding them, you're helping them in the bathroom, you're trying to keep them company, you're taking them to all their doctor's appointments, you're helping them with some of their therapies, you're administering medicines all day long and night long, and you're not getting enough sleep. And we're going to talk about the health effects of being a caregiver in a minute. But I know that's some of your stories out there. Someone else in my life recently had her mother, suddenly show, well, not, I don't know if it was sudden, but strong signs of dementia and so forth. Started walking out of her house in the middle of winter and things like that, and wandering, and then getting volatile, and needing to have that conversation and get her some care, and eventually put her in a nursing home, and just all the sadness around that and frustration. And now, sometimes they have good conversations, and she feels like her mother knows her, and sometimes not. And so the relationship has shifted, and that's another big psychological impact when parents or loved ones, start showing, difficult illnesses or injuries or disabilities, or whatever words we want to put around the health conditions that they're facing with their aging, and how it affects us emotionally. It changes the dynamics of the relationship, that can be extremely disheartening, stressful, and cause a lot of grief and frustration. What do we do now? How do we manage? This isn't the mom I used to know. This isn't the dad I used to know. I miss them being my parent. And that feeling that you're kind of in a role reversal, where you're no longer the child, but it's not that they're children, it's that sometimes they're childlike with the needs that they have, but they're clearly not your children. They're your parents, but they need a lot of guidance and care and supervision and things that we used to do as parents for those of us who raise children. And so that role reversal gets really complicated too, because everybody still wants like their mom, right, or their dad, and not to feel like you have to kind of put them in a position where you have to be in charge of them, so to speak, and make decisions on their behalf, or argue with them about what they really need or don't, but yet that's what's happening. And so I just really feel for you all. Please hear me. I feel for you. I feel great compassion for you. And that's part of why I'm doing this program today. Another one of my friends just informed me a couple of days ago. I was checking in with her because she was going to go on a trip outside of the country for a few weeks, and I knew it was about time for her to leave. And so I checked in and said, hey, what day are you leaving? When are you leaving? And she said, I can't do it. Dad is just not in a place where I feel like I can be out of the country for a few weeks. And I thought, oh, she'd been so looking forward to this trip for so long. But of course, her love for her father is 10 million times more important to her than a trip that maybe she can take at a later time when he's not as needy, or or whatever. And so she literally canceled a trip that she'd been looking forward to for a long time. So there can be disappointment that comes along with this, and frustration, and just all those emotional issues. So let's talk about caregiver stress. And again, this caregiver, you may be a caregiver that, again, has your parent or whatever loved one, a spouse now who needs you in this way, siblings, whoever it is, that's right in your home with you 24/7. Or you might be the primary contact person who always needs to respond when there's a doctor's appointment or a medicine change or a decision to make about care, or they've fallen and they can't get up, those kinds of things. Or the light bulb's out and you need to replace it, or the refrigerator stops working and they need help with that, or the lawn needs mowed, or whatever it is. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. You know if you're a caregiver or not. Well, let's check in with your caregiver stress. So some common symptoms and signs of caregiver stress are frustration. Lots of kinds of frustrations. We've talked about some of them already. You may feel real anger toward the person you're caring for, which is okay. Please be kind to yourself about that, as long as you're not, abusing them, obviously, or taking it out on them, but rather just that anger inside, like, oh, why is this happening? How could this happen? Maybe you're even angry at God about it if you believe in God. And the frustration of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to give them their independence as much as I can, but yet, watch out for them because they're a danger to themselves at some level, or could be very easily, all of that. And then depression is also a sign of caregiver stress. Depression, not really feeling like, doing the things you used to enjoy doing all the time, feeling like this underlying layer of sadness in your life, or melancholy, just down, just hard to feel up and enthusiastic about life day in and day out from all the stress that's causing depression. And then 3, you may feel a lot more isolated. Maybe you really don't feel like you have time to spend time with your other loved ones because you're consumed with caregiving. Or maybe you think nobody else understands what you're going through. And believe me, there's millions of other people going through it, but you may just not know them or be able to connect with them very easily right now because you're on triple duty, right? Caregiving plus your job, or plus your whatever else you're involved in, which is usually lots of things. And then number 4 is sleep deprivation. This is very common with caregivers, especially those who have their loved ones living right with them. So there's a lot of interrupted sleep. There's a lot of, I call it mother's ear, where you're always kind of half awake because you want to hear if that person needs you, if something comes up and they need you. And so you're not able to relax enough to get a good night's sleep. And a lot of you are getting up and giving medication at 10, 12, 2, 4, or something else, getting them to the bathroom or who knows what else. So the sleep deprivation and just not being able to relax anyway because you're wound up from all the worries and concerns, which leads to caregiver stress symptom number 5, worrying. Are they going to be okay? Are they safe? Can I leave them alone? Do we need to change where they live? Are they going to run out of money? Which health decision's best? All the concerns you have, and they can be overwhelming. And then number 6, I did not know this. I learned this just recently, but you as a caregiver are more prone to have a weakened immune system, which totally makes sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but also have more headaches, body aches, and any kind of health issue you are yourself, especially women. Women who are caregivers, listen to me, are far, far, far more likely to develop serious chronic illnesses, all the ones nobody wants: high blood pressure, cancer, obesity, on and on and on the list goes. You as women caregivers are far more likely to develop these things when you are caregiving than men or other people that are not caregiving. So we're going to talk about how to cope with all this here in a minute, but please note that this is statistically true. So, so let's talk about how to deal with caregiver stress. How do we deal with caregiver stress? Well, number one, you might empower yourself for learning more about the condition that your loved one has. If you don't know a lot yet, if you're feeling kind of out there hanging by a thread, not sure what to do to help, not understanding the disease or injury or illness or aging process that you are witnessing and trying to help with all the time. So you want to, I mean, the information is at our fingertips at any time. And so you want to learn more to empower yourself to understand more of what you're dealing with, so you can feel more confident in your role as caregiver and not as worried and stressed or overcome. And then number two, ask for help. I cannot say this enough. There are so many options to help people who are caregiving. There are meal delivery services. There are housekeepers. There are people, home health people who will come and assist your loved one, give them baths. There's people who will come and administer the medications. There are people who will come and do practical home maintenance and things. There are daycares where you can get respite from your caregiving. There are things in our system like the Family Medical Leave Act that you can check and see if you qualify for. So you can get some time off work to be able to rest more and balance the care and your own needs better when you're not trying to show up at the office, 40 hours a week on top of the whole thing, things like that. So look for help, find help. There are homes for people. There's all kinds of things. You do not have to go through this completely alone. And speaking of that, there are support groups for caregivers out there, online and in person. And I'll talk about more where you can find those in case you don't know. Number four, try to establish a routine for the patient, meaning the person you are caring for, whoever that might be. Establish a routine if that's possible. In some situations, I know that's just not possible. But if you can, try to create some kind of organized routine for the patient and for yourself as their caregiver. This gives a more predictable life for you. It helps them. It helps you, more of what you can expect in different times of the day or different times of the week. And just really try to help yourself and them in that way as much as you can, or in certain areas of life as much as you can. I know it's not possible in all areas, and depending on where they're at in their process, things can get really, really out of whack and be unpredictable. But when it can be, do your best to establish some routine. And number five, can't say it enough. I know you're gonna just say, how on earth do I do this, Cindy? But you've got to find time for yourself. You've got to find time for yourself and some daily joy, some time to just be you and not be the caregiver. You were an individual long before you became a caregiver, and you had your own wants, your own needs, your own joys, your own habits, your own hobbies, your own other loved ones, all those things that bring value and meaning to your life outside of the role of caregiver. So please stay in touch with that woman, that part of you. Get in touch with her, get to know her again. Don't let her get lost in the shuffle of caregiving, because again, your health is at stake. Your emotional and physical health is at stake when you are caregiving for someone else in their physical and emotional needs. So part of how you stay healthy physically and emotionally is taking time for yourself, making sure you have some daily joy, whatever that requires. Make sure you get it, and you do it all. You ask for whatever you need so you can get some of that. Number six, saying it again, keep your own health a major top priority, because again, through caregiver stress, your immune system can plummet. It can just be so compromised, and then you can catch anything and everything, and this can age you more quickly as well. And there's lots of reasons to do this, right? To really watch your own health and keep up those regular doctor's appointments for you. I know you're going to the doctor 26 times a month with your person you're caring for, but don't forget to get your annual physicals, your mammograms, your gynecological exams, anything. Get the colonoscopy. You're old enough now, right? Just get all those things to keep your own health in check, because if you go down, everybody's going down with you, right? Because you're caregiving. So you've got to stay strong and healthy, not just for yourself. Please do it for yourself. That's a good enough reason right there. That's a very important reason. But someone else is counting on you. And so, you've got to try to stay healthy. We don't want you to age and need care when you are in this stage of your life. You don't want to need this kind of caregiving for 20, 30, 40 years or ever, right? We want to keep ourselves vital and healthy and strong and learn from the lifestyles of our parents and so forth, and learn from their path what we can about, ooh, how do I age more slowly, or how do I stay stronger longer, or how do I avoid some of these conditions that I'm seeing in my mother, my father, my spouse, my sibling, whatever, and really learn from that and make sure you keep it yourself a priority, and your health. So another thing, while they are, if you're in a situation where you're caring for an elderly person and they still have their mental capacities and can make decisions and so forth, you might want to talk about end of life issues. And I know this would be highly sensitive. Sometimes it's really hard to know how to have those conversations. But the truth is that we're all going to reach the end of our physical lives at some point, and the older we get, the sooner that's likely coming. And if they're dealing with some health issues and you're really in a position where you're going to be a decision maker and so forth, you can do yourself a favor, them a favor, your whole rest of your family a favor, and see if you can get them to take care of some of the basic end of life paperwork and get decisions made now while they're still able, of sound mind, and able to do these things. This will make their life clearer and easier, their medical teams' decisions and actions clearer and easier, and your life easier as they deteriorate more or after they die. So, think about durable power of attorneys, healthcare directives, wills, trusts, even funeral plans, if they want to do that, things like that. So their wishes, things like that, because it's empowering to know these things. I'm really proud of my mom because she's done all of these things and she's made herself very, very clear. And it's such a blessing because my brother and sister and I, we don't have to make any decisions really. I mean, they're made. She's made them. So what our job is for us to, honor the decisions she's already made, and just make sure, the doctors know, hey, this is what she's saying about this, and this is what she's not saying about this, and she wants this and not this. And then we don't have to sit there and go, what should we do, what should we do, what should we do, because she's already told us and it's all in writing, so we know. So thank you, Mom, for that. That is such a gift to you. It is such a gift to the three of us and everybody who loves you. So anyway, for those of you in the position of caregiving, if those things are not clear or done yet, and the person is still of sound mind enough to be able to do that, answer some questions, talk to a lawyer, get some things filled out, I would really, really encourage it. I would push it hard if you can. Maybe they will not respond well. Maybe they'll be angry with you for bringing it up, but it's worth a shot because of the peace of mind it can give everybody. So one of the greatest resources I know for all things caregivers And People Needing Care is the Area Agency on Aging. You can also contact AARP for lots of resources, and ask your healthcare providers about other things they know, and look for support groups in your area. Please do not go through this alone. Please be gracious to yourself so you can be as gracious as possible to the loved ones you're caring for, even as you're frustrated and sleep deprived and everything else. Please know you're not alone. And if you need additional support, I am a coach and I can help you through anything you've got in midlife and beyond. I know it. And so please let me listen and give you compassion and help you, make a plan for your life, get a vision for your own life, even in the context of integrating the care that you're giving the people that you love. So above all, please remember, loving yourself is loving to everyone else. So if you would like to have a conversation with me, go to timewithcindy.com to find my calendar, pick a time, and we'll just have a conversation and I'll see what I can do to support you. And know that I am loving you through whatever you're going through in your life. And I super, super hope this was helpful. And please pass the episode on to someone you know who's going through these kinds of things. And I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.